572-0383 and 572-0215. Rev-Up St. Lucia, the alpha of radio.
What's on my mind with the compliments of Lazarus Funeral Home and La Place Salaison.
It's delicious.
La Place Salaison is the true home of quality meat and deli products, selected and priced to suit every palate and pocket. We sell all cuts of meat, poultry and fish, from tasty lamb necks and succulent pork chops to lean dolphin and juicy top round steaks. Our deli items include turkey, ham, bacon, pork sausages, meat patties, chicken nuggets, deli ham and eggs, so that breakfast or that party is a breeze. And for your added convenience, we sell restaurant essentials and grocery items. So where's your next meal coming from? La Place Salaison, of course. La Place Salaison, Castries, Groselet, Beaufort, and Soufrière.
It's delicious.
There is only one option when they arrive. Our services will make the dead look alive. With Bouteille and Beaufort accessibility. Remember, we have the only private cemetery. No one can match our prices from coffins to corsage. Personalized service you get when Lazarus take charge. Quality service, no package to make your wallet bleed. Lazarus is your true friend in your time of need.
Hello there, good morning, good afternoon, good night to our listeners in St. Lucia and our viewers as well across the globe. Those of you watching us on Facebook, also on YouTube and also on X. Welcome to What's on My Mind for today, Monday, the 11th of August. My name is Andre Paul. As promised, we have a very special guest in studio who was there with us last week, Monday. So we have sort of part two of our discussion, which we had last week, which centered more on the crime situation. But today we're moving on to other things and especially taking calls. And I want to admit, Mr. Elwin, you were very insistent that this time we take calls.
Yes.
Because the first time, we just got into our vibe and completely forgot about the listeners.
Well, when you are having a good, engaging interaction, the time goes by much faster than you realize. Yes.
Let's be careful that doesn't happen today again.
Well, sure, we want our listeners to participate in the process.
Okay, so Mr. Elwin St. Rose, welcome once again to Rev-Up St. Lucia. It's good to have you. Or to see, nice to see you, especially your big, broad smile.
Thank you, my friend. It's a pleasure. It's a joy. Always a pleasure to be able to speak to our fellow citizens, speak about issues, things that are truly concerning, things that can make their lives better or not make their lives better. So it's a great privilege and a joy to be here.
Well, let's get right into it, Mr. St. Rose. First off, you're an independent candidate.
Yes.
Right. And I imagine you have a lot of challenges. So I want you to tell us about some of these challenges as an independent candidate, and especially challenges which relate to the finances. How are you able to really support this? Because even with the established political parties, they have a lot of challenges raising monies and so on. So I'd like to know your secret.
Well,
how are you managing?
There is no secret. First of all, there are challenges. One of the biggest challenges that we are seeing on the ground is how loyal people are to a caller. In the discourse, in the appearances.
You mean color meaning red?
Red and yellow.
And yellow. Okay.
How committed people are to the caller, to the concept of caller.
Just hold that thought. That thought.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we that way? To the point where it even dates back to what our parents supported and so on. I've spoken to so many people, and they say things like, well, that's who my mother and father always supported. We have always been this color or that color. You understand? And we've kept this tradition, albeit they admit to you that life is not much better, right?
Yeah.
Under this particular party that they seem to be supporting forever,
Yeah.
right? So can you explain what's going on there? You as a psychologist.
Well, we are very, very intelligent human beings, very, very sophisticated. Let me give you one example of that. Our brains, there is a surgery that is called a hemispherectomy, where if there is what they call in the literature an insult on one, there are two hemispheres in the brain. If there is an insult, a tumor, or challenge, where they can actually, brain surgeons can go in, remove half of the brain, the part that has the insult. And if you are young enough, the other part, the other hemisphere takes over the functions of the hemisphere that is removed. And that half, quote unquote, half of your brain which swims in the cerebral spinal fluid becomes a bimodal functional entity where whatever function the left hemisphere was performing or the right hemisphere was performing, that remaining hemisphere takes over the function. We are very sophisticated creatures. But, Andre, we don't use our capability, the way we reason, the way we are taught, the way we grow up. Culture plays a more significant role in our lives than facts.
So explain.
Yes, politics and religion are the same when it comes to that. This is my mother's religion that I was born into. This is who I am. That's what I grew up in, and nothing can make me change. Politics is the same because we also inherit it from our parents. My father was an SLP, my father was a UWP, my father did not participate, and by and large, that's how I grew up. Notwithstanding the fact that we have the ability to decipher, we have the ability to reason, we have the ability to say, this guy will represent me better. We don't go that route, we just go to the default. So your parents were X, you are X. Your parents were Y, you are Y. So our upbringing, our environment, our culture plays a very significant role in terms of who we are. That's why children of alcoholics tend to drink. Not all, but they tend to drink. Children of conservatives tend to be conservative and so on.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think I understand what you're saying. So then, of course, that just proves the point then that it must be really challenging for you or any independent candidate to kind of swing people over to your side.
And that's the biggest challenge because there are lots of myths, misinformation, disinformation out there about independent candidates.
So before we get to
Yes.
that, to the myths and so on, how do you, especially again as a psychologist, because you understand human thinking and behavior and so on, how now do you get them to come over to you? How do you awaken this consciousness in them that, listen, hey, you have a brain and you're wonderfully made and you're intelligent. How do you get them now to swing over to you?
There is a group that will never swing. There is a group that is so committed to the caller
No matter what you say.
and to the symbol, they'll never swing. We refer to them as hacks or agents, or they'll never swing because they are not even open to reason. They are not open to the fact that it's a person who can help you, not a caller, not a symbol. When you are looking at two persons, do you even look at the one that's more qualified and the one that has the drive, the passion, the ability, the capability to help you? Or no, I don't even want to hear from him or from her. This is who I am. They have nothing to say to me. It's like it's like a chronic, almost obsessive complacency. I am here and there is nothing you can say, there is nothing you can do. On the field, in ancillary canneries, because that's what we're concerned about, I run into those people. They know nothing about what an independent candidate is and what an independent candidate can do. But they have what I referred to earlier, the misinformation and the disinformation already. If you're an independent candidate and you win, somehow you're going to go to the house, sit in a little corner, nobody will talk to you, there is nothing you can do. Now, we can give that its appropriate name. But to your point, why are we like that? Because behavior, Andre, psychologically speaking now, behavior that is reinforced becomes easier. If you hit someone and every time you do, I give you $20, psychology says you are more likely to do it again if the $20 is important to you, or if the $20 are important to you. You will hit again. If you don't like to eat, if you don't eat bread, and every time you say, I do not want bread, I give you $100, you are more likely to say the next time you do not want bread, even if you want it, because you are rewarded. The thing about politics in St. Lucia is that we reward a lot of bad behavior. So, for example, people are talking about selling their votes. My God, I mean, just saying it now gives me the jibbities. Selling your vote as a citizen of a state, you would not vote unless I give you $100 or a case of chicken, a few pitons. That's what you vote for? When your life is on the line, your children's life is on the line, your grandchildren's life is on the line, your nation, the one that gave you birth, is on the line, and you would only vote to determine how this sacred land is managed if I give you a case of chicken and a case of piton. So that's what we're talking about. Behavior that has been reinforced over decades. And you hear people say, I am yellow, I don't want to hear you. I am red, I don't want to hear you.
So when you, say, for example, you go to a residence and you come across people who have that attitude, how do you feel about that? How does it make you feel?
It makes me feel sad on the inside, which I never portray on the outside. My sadness remains on the inside, and what I say to them, politely and nicely, it's a democracy. You will vote for whoever you want to vote for. If you want to vote for Mickey Mouse, do that. But at the end of the day, voting must be about the future of your country. How do you want it to be, and who are the persons on the ground that will mostly approximate your view of where you want your country to be? So if you don't want your representative to be a drunk, why would you vote for a drunk? You want to vote for somebody who's of sound mind, clear-eyed, clarity of thought, someone who can understand the issues and help the country navigate them, or you want to vote for your caller. So I said to them, it's a democracy, you vote for whoever you want, but I am saying to you, if you vote for us, it's going to be a new day in this constituency.
So do they communicate those feelings to you directly? Say, hey, my brother, you're wasting your time. I've been a strong supporter of this party or that party all my life, my family, etc. Do they say those things to you?
They are more polite. They don't tell me I'm wasting my time. They don't tell me I'm wasting my time, but they express those thoughts. Someone, for example, we were in a certain area of the constituency last week, and somebody says, I'll never vote for an independent. I like you, you're smart, you this, you that, but I'll never vote for an independent because there is nothing you can do for me. Mm-hmm. That's a variation, if you will, a derivative of what the bigger problem we're talking about. So they are committed to the caller thing.
So you said, and I notice you keep using the word we. So I imagine you have a team working with you?
Of course, I have individuals working with me, and I generally don't go on the field by myself, unless I'm going to a specific person or persons. It's always a group, a minimum of 2 at least.
Now, when you have, say, a massive constituency, right? In fact, let's put massive aside. You just have your ancillary canneries.
It's huge, by the way, one of the largest in terms of geography.
Okay, all right, well, good, exactly. So let's go there. There's so many residences, right? Mm-hmm. How do you determine, today we go into all, these houses along that street, how do you determine that? Or are there some homes you're never able to visit?
Well, there are homes that I as the candidate will never be able to get to. So what we do by areas. We do by areas. So if we want to go to, for example, in just the Millet area where I'm from, there is Tetchime, there is Venus, there is Dawado, there is basically Vanna, there is Mondo. 5 areas that I can consider to be close to the area where I am originally from. And then you have all the others. You have your Jackmels and your Boadens and your Rosos and your Ansgalet and your Otabo and your Otabo Heights and your Ancillary Village and Ansgalet. And we're not even in Canaries yet. So there are homes I will never be able to go to. So we go by locations, by areas. So if today we are going to Jackmel, that's where we focus on. If next day we are going to Ancillary, that's what we focus on. But even when you do that, there are homes you will never get to. There are areas you'll never get to. You walk the streets, and thankfully there may be more people on the streets than in homes at a certain time of the day. But the point is, that's a challenge. I'm thinking of the Denneries as 2 constituencies, Dennery South, Dennery North. And Ancillary Canaries is bigger, geographically speaking, than the 2 Denneries put together. The drive is from Tetchime in Millet to Canaries. That's huge geographically. But for example, Castries North may have more people. Grosile for sure has more people. But in terms of landmass, in terms of space, in terms of distance, ancillary canneries is big.
Okay, before we get into what an independent candidate can and cannot do, I want to ask you something, which I think is it was dear to me. I drive around the island fairly regularly, okay, and I walk a lot as well, and I end up in certain communities. I have no idea where I am. I mean, in general, I know
Sure.
I'm in Moshi, for example, or if I'm in Anse, I just know I'm in Anse. But you just mentioned so many different communities within a community, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
Right? The issue of signage over the years continues to be a problem. I mean, wouldn't that be a wonderful thing to see you go into a community, no matter where in St. Lucia, and you know exactly where you are? Welcome to Ottawa. Welcome to this and that and the other. You understand what I'm saying? We have a problem with a lack of signage in St. Lucia. I hope if you are successful, this is one area I think you could look into.
Andre, I have spoken about this before.
Oh, you have?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I spoke about it on other shows, not right now, but prior, because I have always contended in St. Lucia, it's almost like there is a conspiracy to keep us backward. We are a tourist destination. We are a tourist destination. And somebody leaves Vieux-Fort, and they are in the Deriso Gap, the Miko Gap, and they have approached Dennery, and they are up the Badlil. They do not know where they are, and there is no sign to tell them how far they are from where they're going. We don't need a lot of money to do that. It's a matter of national pride, my God. It's beating me down to the ground how there are so many little things we can do that we don't do. We have 1 million visitors visiting St. Lucia every year. Now, of course, some of those are St. Lucians, but that would be a minimum number. We have people coming from Germany and France, and I remember I was in Germany a few years ago, and you know the television is in German. I'm trying to work with my German, which is horrible, and then here is an ad about St. Lucia.
Oh, really?
In German, of course. In German, St. Lucia has been promoted as a tourist destination in a hotel room where I was in Germany. And I was so proud. But I also know when they get there, they're going to be lost for the week, for the 3 days, for the 2 weeks, for the weekend, because there are no signs on the road to indicate to them where they are, how far they are. We should have proper size. As I was going down the Badlil this morning, I'm saying to myself, wouldn't it be nice to have signs of the appropriate size?
Imagine you were thinking about that.
I was thinking about it this morning.
Wow.
Because I saw a little sign about 3 feet from off the ground saying the road is winding to the left. And I'm saying to myself, who sees that? It has to be at eye level, minimum. It has to be big enough. The letters have to be big enough for people to read before they make the turn. So it's interesting, man. This is so interesting that you were asking me this question when I was thinking about it this morning. So yes, of course.
All right.
If I get 3 ancillary canneries, that's a project.
Beautiful.
That's a project in the first 30 days.
Okay, so before we get into projects that you may be interested in pursuing, if you are chosen to represent ancillary canneries, the elephant in the room, what is it that you can do as an independent candidate, considering the fact that most St. Lucians, I believe, think that, hey, if you're not aligned to either the yellow or the red, there's nothing much you can do for me. So what is it that an independent candidate can do?
And that's a myth. That is not true. I don't want to get into other people's politics and how they characterize themselves, but in the last election we had 2 independent candidates. Many people in St. Lucia say they're not independent. That's not my decision to make, nor my conclusion to come to. So whatever that is. But in every democracy in the world, there are independent candidates. In the United States, we have We have independents in the House, at least 4, and we have 2 independents in the Senate. In the UK, in the House of Commons, we have about 21 independent candidates. In Trinidad, we have about 9 independent senators. In Australia, we have about 10 independents in the House of Representatives. So independent is not something that just fell from the sky today in St. Lucia. Independence, before I answer the question specifically, independents bring balance if they are independents. Because, especially if you have, that's why I'm saying we probably should have more independents running and participating. It's a democracy. You hear people talk about, oh, he'll split votes. What's that? I know what it is mathematically, but in a democracy, who cares with that? If you have a conviction, you believe you are qualified, you want to serve your country, you participate. There are 2 ways to participate. You can do it through a political party, or you can go straight to the people and say, I want to represent you, and let the chips fall where they may. If you are not elected, thank them for their support, their time, and move on with your own life. And if you are selected, praise God, you'll be there to work for them as hard as you can. So what can an independent candidate do? Everything a non-independent candidate can do. Because, Andre, you go to the House to represent the people, whether you are an independent, whether you are a United Workers' Party MP, or whether you're a St. Lucia Labour Party MP. Now, the history in St. Lucia has to do with governance, where some parties have kind of punished the opposition. Mm-hmm. If you're not in government, you almost expect them to punish you, not give you much, and so on. I learned something a long time ago, that the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? So if I were to win my seat and anybody were to treat me as if I am a bastard, it's going to be a long day, because my motive and my passion and my conviction is to help my people. If I win as an independent, I'm not in opposition, because I don't belong to the opposition party. So I expect the administration to, and they will hear from me as to what I want them to do for my constituency. I want the resources for my constituency, and that's why I'm going to work with whoever is in power. If the United Workers' Party is in power, I am prepared to work with them, because I'm not going to go to the House to break things and kill people. I'm going there to represent my people. If the Labour Party is in power, I expect to work with them to get resources for my people. So an independent is just another MP. Unless somebody decides, oh, because you're an independent, you shall not get a penny from the bill of expenditure. That's not going to happen.
Why do you say that?
Because we have the president right now. The St. Lucia Labour Party has not, or did not, marginalize the 2 independent candidates that came into the House. Now, I know some people will be ready to give flack and all that kind of thing, and who they are, they're not independents. That's not my call, that's their call. If they tell me they are independents, I believe they are independents. So Mr. Pierre, the Prime Minister, the current Prime Minister, has shown a willingness, at least, to be diverse in some way and to help the country. I heard Mr. Chasney say on a show not too long ago that if he were to become Prime Minister again, he would treat the opposition differently. Mm-hmm. I heard him say that.
So what do you gather by treat the opposition differently? Do you believe that it really meant, well, I didn't treat them too nicely?
Well, what I am thinking that he's saying is that being in opposition now, he knows what it means to be in opposition, and he knows what he needs in order to function as an effective opposition member. And he's, in my opinion, what he was saying was, if he becomes Prime Minister, he would at least make sure that the opposition members who won their seats are treated with the appropriate level of respect and decorum. Mm-hmm. That's my understanding.
Okay. So what about, all the divisiveness in the politics? You are, as a Christian, okay? Can you bring your Christianity into the politics to the point where you can be different from the other candidates?
Of course, and I plan to do so. If there is somebody in St. Lucia right now who has a problem with me speaking to anybody in politics or anybody who wishes to be in politics, and they don't want me to do that, you're looking at the wrong guy. Mr. Chasney is not my enemy. Prime Minister Pierre is not my enemy. Mr. Girard, the MP for Ancillary Canaries, is not my enemy. Neither is Mr. Dominic Fede. These guys are not my enemies. My enemy is ignorance. My enemy is illiteracy. My enemy is poor customer service. My enemy is a lack of infrastructural development. My enemy is poverty. My enemy is crime. My enemy is unethical behavior. These are the things that are my enemies. So I'll talk with whoever wishes to talk with me. I will be kind and polite to anybody that I interact with. I don't care if you're a Labour Party supporter, if you're a UWP supporter. That has no depth in my thinking process, because you have a right. You have a right to represent the party of your choice or support the party of your choice. You have a right. So for me to now come in, my faith instructs me and says to me, you have not done anything to me because you are SLP, UWP independent. What have you done to me? You have just exercised your choice in how you wish to express your devotion, your loyalty to your country in the political process, in the body politic. It has nothing to do with me. So to your question, if I am elected, of course I plan to bring my faith, my ethics, what drives me. I am not adding to the hostility under any circumstance. You cannot pay me enough money to hate somebody for you. And if I am an independent MP in the House and Mr. Pierre does something that's right, I'll celebrate him. And if he does something that I think is wrong, I'll criticize him. And the same goes for Mr. Chasney. If he does something that's right, I'll celebrate it. If he does something I think is wrong, I'll criticize him. This is not about us. And let me say one thing quickly, Andre. The three of us who are going up in Ancillary Canaries, we are all going to be okay no matter how the election goes.
When you say okay, what do you mean?
Mr. Fede is going to be okay. He's a senator now. He probably will be a senator then. Mr. Girard is the MP now. If he doesn't win, there are lots of other things for him to do because he's at the place to do it. If I don't win, I'll be fine. I'll be okay. I can go to other areas that I want, or I can just continue my charitable work. So the point I'm making is that this election is not about the politicians. It's about the people. So the only question that matters is for every voter in Ancillary Canaries and in St. Lucia to ask this question: am I going to be okay? If Mr. St. Rose wins, if Mr. Girard, if Mr. Fede wins, am I going to be okay? Will my children be okay? Will St. Lucia be better for them than it is for me? That's the only question that matters, because the politicians will be fine. Stop voting for them. Vote for yourself and for St. Lucia. Vote for your future. Vote for your children's education. Vote for health care. Those are the things you vote for, not mwese lebanga more leba, mwese flambonga more flambo. That's not constructive in 2025. Vote for St. Lucia. Yes.
Yes, okay. I asked you about bringing your Christianity into the politics, and you explained very, very nicely. Now, that's what I call the soft power. So tell us now, in what areas do you plan to be firm?
In all areas.
Because, historically, politicians tend to be firm, and they don't want to exercise much soft power. It's always about being firm and being tough and this sort of thing. And it's unfortunate that many females who enter the fray seem to follow the same pattern, that you've got to be firm. At least that's my observation. So how do you now plan to be firm? In what area are you going to be firm?
If I may, I will say what a lot of people consider firm, I would consider toxic. Mr. Paul, if I go to the House and there is a process to either support something or not support something, you will hear me argue the merits. The MAPWE thing we do bothers me a lot. And people tend to be firm to say, I will make sure you never win. Well, that's politics. That has a place. I don't know that the place is the House. I think that's more on the trail. But in the People's House of Parliament, we argue policy. We argue what makes St. Lucia go forward, what makes it advance. We argue health care, which is a problem in St. Lucia in terms of both the quality of care and the resources, the equipment that we need in order to leverage appropriate and effective health care. So all I'm saying, if I get to the house and there is a bill on health care, you're not going to see me partisan on this. You're not even going to know who I support, who I don't support, because I will support what is right. I'll support what is good. And my policy, my philosophy is simple. If it's good for St. Lucia, it's good for me.
So, how do you plan to balance? Because this is a tough one, where sometimes as a leader, you have to take a certain decision that will please some and disappoint others. How do you plan to maneuver that sort of area where you have to take a decision, and the decision, you know, will affect some people negatively and impact others positively? How do you plan? Because this is a problem. I often remember a particular time when a particular prime minister, no need to bother to mention his name or anything, it's not really necessary. And he took a decision that negatively impacted some business people in St. Lucia. And these people, their businesses ended up were being closed as a result of that one decision. And I remember one of the business people who was affected said, "You mean to say by the stroke of a pen, you were destroying my business?" I've never forgotten that. But it was a tough decision that had to be taken at the time. Look, remember VAT, when VAT came on.
Yeah, first came on, yeah.
Yeah, that was another tough one. There have been many, many instances where a politician, a leader had to take a tough decision that would be pleasing to some but negatively impact others. How do you plan to ride that particular wave?
That's leadership. Let's take the home. Parents take decisions all the time that are probably considered negative to children, and the children are upset, they don't like it. Nobody likes to be negatively affected, and I understand the question fundamentally. But at the end of the day, the governance of a country is not the governance of a club. There are things every good leader will do that will have some negative impact on some people. Here in St. Lucia, we are managing 200,000 people. In the US, it's 335 million. So you can never get on the same page with everybody. But I use utilitarian principles where it's the greater good. And to create a soft landing, I would hate to be part of a process that puts a bunch of people out of work, out of an income, just because I want to make a decision. There has to be a way where we can ameliorate, we can balance. There has to be a happy medium somewhere. So it may affect them in the short term, but in the long term, it should be beneficial to them. So I will be careful. I am not signing on anything that is going to just destroy the life of another St. Lucian. Let me give you another example. In St. Lucia, we have individuals who get contracts, whether it's to transport children or to work or whatever, under one administration. Another administration comes in, they just pull the rug from under them. I can never support that. I can never support hurting a St. Lucian just because they didn't vote for me or they didn't vote for my party. That's majoring in minors. The governance.
And just to pause there for a second, this is an attitude that has prevailed in the St. Lucian politics for eons, where a particular politician would use his power or her power and influence to make life difficult for a St. Lucian who they believed is not supportive of them or did not support them.
I can't do that. I just can't.
But you're aware that it happens.
Oh, I'm aware. And this is why I said to you, I will support a government when I think they are right, and I will criticize them when I think they're wrong. If I am part of a government that does that, I'll criticize that, Andre. And if I cannot criticize that, I have no business in politics. I'll criticize that. If you are going to take a decision that's going to hurt our fellow St. Lucians in my constituency, people who are born, reared, lived here, and are making a living here. If with a stroke of a pen you can just destroy their lives, I cannot support that under any circumstance. There has to be a way where we find balance. I cannot tell you the details because I'm not there, so I can only tell you the principle. If there is a bill that comes up, if there is a policy we are discussing, if there is anything that will destroy the lives of my fellow St. Lucians just because they belong to a different party or they didn't vote or they didn't support me, I cannot do that. I cannot participate in that. My faith tells me that I have to love my neighbor as myself. I cannot do it.
Okay, let me just give our listeners and viewers the numbers that you can call. I have live in studio independent candidate for ancillary canneries, Mr. Elwin St. Rose. And the numbers to call, the fixed line is 572-9710, 572-9710, or the WhatsApp platform, it is 287-0971. WhatsApp is 287-0971. So again, the fixed line, it is 572-9710, or WhatsApp 287-0971. These are the numbers to call. So while we're waiting for our calls, Mr. St. Rose, tell us now about some of your major plans for ancillary canneries if you are selected or elected into office.
I am not your typical politician, and that's why probably I'm an independent candidate. I do not go to a constituency and pontificate as if I have all the answers and I know what the needs are.
Please hold your thought. We'll get back to what you talk because we have a call. Thanks for calling. Good morning.
Good morning, Brother Paul.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Not too bad. What's up? And good morning, Mr. Centrals.
Good morning to you, sir.
Now, I know you very well, Mr. Centrals.
Okay.
I give you my nickname, Uhakaiwi Wantem, Wasakila Skikoyo. So, Usbode Sakoneta Achi bien, Ita Diriso.
Of course.
In the church, Ubamizi Blaga.
You are taking me way back, man. You're taking me way back. You're giving me hard work to do this morning.
Not too bad. You were raised up in Deriso. That was your place where you used to be as a pastor. But
of course.
That's not what I call upon. Ever since I heard you coming on the scene, and there was a time it was under before political party, and now we changed to be independent. Now, I have a little concerns because we have often heard about independent candidates. Most time they come under the umbrella of independent candidate. And if, God forbid, they get through, they remain alliant to a political party. And sometimes they will see evil and they would not, they want to, to say it is wrong. Now, I know you're a man of the faith and you're a man who stood by principle. But you say, I think Andrea asked your question at the last Monday, and I took note of that question. And you said you're willing to work, with any party who forms the government. But my concern is, what about, let us say you won your seat as an independent, and a political party decide, well, since you have ambition, you're a man of, credibility, and they want to, let me not use the word hire, but then want you to be on board with them, to give you a ministry or something. And you see certain direction where things are not going right. Would you be openly criticize them?
Okay.
Thank you, caller.
If the question is, will I criticize them? The answer is yes. How I do that is different. I don't think that if I belong to a government that I have to play rogue. Because I disagree with something, I just go on the boulevard or on the square and be yelling and screaming. That's not leadership. Leadership is you celebrate in public and you rebuke in private. So let's say Mr. Pierre or Mr. Shasney brings me into their government and they are doing something that I don't think is right. I will let them know. I will let them know I cannot support it, and I'll tell them why. We will engage it and we will see where it takes us. But I'm not going to just run from the house, get the microphone or platform and begin to yell and scream. That's not leadership. That's been quite petulant, if you ask me. So we celebrate in public, but we rebuke in private. And that's what I plan to do. Because I'm not going there to scandalize an administration or to expose it, to show how bad it is. My job is to help it become better. And I cannot do that from the outside. I have to do that from the house. And that's what I plan to do.
Okay, we have another call. Thanks for holding. Good morning.
Good morning, Honorable Boss.
Hey, good morning, Arthur Charles.
Good morning, Mr. St. Rose.
Good morning to you, sir.
Mr. St. Rose.
Yes.
Say by some good stroke of luck, good luck, some stroke of luck, you happen to win that seat down there and Surrey candidates, right?
Yes, sir.
And then think kind of balance, but you are the trump card. And then Charles decided to call you in. Where will you give him? Concerning what happened to you some time ago, where you pay your money and the guy that refused you and they tell you, what's the guy name again? Freddie, that will be going to fit. Will you be going with him?
If he forms the government?
Yes, that's what he asked.
Yes, of course. Because like I said earlier, caller, Mr. Shastny is not my enemy. In the political administrative hassle of stuff, we get offended, we get hurt, people do things, and sometimes some people regret how they did certain things. But if we have passed all of that, and God gives me the opportunity and my people elect me and extend to me this unique sacred privilege to work, I'll work for them. So if Mr. Shastny says to me, and he's the government, he says to me, Mr. St. Rose, we want to make you the minister of the broom industry. Of course I'll take it. Of course. There is no reason why I shouldn't, because I'm going there to work for my people specifically and to work for St. Lucia generally.
Because since I know you had that little fracas, I thought you would change your mind.
No. I'll work with anybody who forms the government, because my job, I look in the windshield, I don't look in the review all the time. The review is instructive, but it's the windshield that takes us to a destination. So whatever position I am given by whoever trusts me to have that position, I will work with them. It doesn't mean I'm bought or I'm sold. I'm in the platter. But I will do my absolute best to do the very best for ancillary canneries and for St. Lucia.
Okay, sir. All right, take care.
Thank you.
Arthur, thank you very much for the call. We have another call. Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Good morning, Andre. Good morning, Mr. St. Rose.
Good morning to you.
Morning to you, sir.
Yeah. Thanks for accepting my call.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that. Okay. Mr. St. Rose, what is your political symbol?
My political symbol is the key.
Oh, okay. So I have one more question for you. With your experience and your profession, if you were to win your seat, ancillary canneries, and a leader of the party, any, could be SLP or UWP, call on you to serve, in which ministry or portfolio that you feel comfortable in serving? I'll listen to you on the phone.
Thank you.
Very well. That's a good question.
Yes,
there are several areas that I think I can do better than average job in. National security, I'm concerned about that. There are so many things we can do in national security, and there are so many approaches we can take, and it's important to the country, it's important to our people. So national security, I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable with diplomacy and international relations and things of that nature. Foreign policy, I am absolutely comfortable with that. And there are other ministries that I'm comfortable with also in St. Lucia. I don't need to go through a real list. So they will say, so this guy thinks, well, yeah, if you ask me the question, I would tell you the two top portfolios I would highlight would be national security and foreign policy.
Okay, let's take another call. Thanks for calling. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, my brother. I didn't listen to the show from the beginning, but what I'm getting, this is an independent candidate that wants to run for cannery, Choiseul, what constituency?
Ancillary canneries.
Ancillary canneries. My first question is, if you allow me to, is why is the reason you think of running for as an independent candidate at this time around? Is it because of the situation with the Labour Party? and the governance, because never in history have we have so many people coming up for independence. You know, we have an independent candidate in view for that saying he want to come up. There's one in Castries North. There's two independents that make up the so-called independents who make up the government, which is Richard Frederick and Stevenson King. And look you now. So that's 5 independents. So that's 5 different constituencies. So why is this time around? And what is your vision? If you can answer my first question, because I want to ask you, what is your vision for ancillary canneries? Why? What economic life can you bring to that that constituency? How can you uplift the people? What is your vision? Because a lot of people like to talk, but when it comes to action, because talk is cheap, but when it comes to action, what is your vision? Because that community has a lot of potential. And I want to know what is your vision and why did you come at this point in time? Because there's 5 candidates. Thank you.
Thank you, caller.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Let's take the second one first. What do I bring? What can I see that can enhance ancillary canneries? The first thing is that when I go on the road, Andre and our callers, I don't go saying, making empty promises. This is what I'll do. This is what I don't do that. I ask the people, what are the things that concern you? What would you want ancillary and canneries and other areas of the constituency to look like? For example, one of the things that comes up in ancillary over and over and over again is a relocation of the people in the village, some of the people in the village. The village is too congested, we need a housing scheme, housing project. I cannot tell you I will do a housing project in the first 2 years because I don't control the purse. In St. Lucia, the history is that the prime ministers usually, I don't know if it's always, but usually are the ministers of finance. They are responsible for presenting the budget to their caucus, and the caucus gives the nod and they go to the house, they debate it and things like that. But that is for sure one of the things I would want to see in ancillary. If I become the MP, that would be on my agenda and I will push it until we get through with it.
So to relocate some of the residents, you say?
Yeah, to relocate some of the residents, because there is talk and there is the location where they are already talking about that. The people of Roseau. Andre, I went to Roseau some time ago. I've been there several times, many times. And one day, on that particular ugly day, I was there, and the public sewer just messed up the conclave where the people live. Roseau has to be fixed, or the people have to be replaced. And if I am the MP for ancillary canneries, I will bring it up and bring it up and bring it up until we get it done. Okay? Now, I understand the limitations of governing St. Lucia. We are not wealthy. We are not rich. We don't have natural resources. But I'll take my time. I'll work with the administration. But this is going to be a top priority for me. Another concern I have is food security, because ancillary canneries is basically an agricultural constituency. And I have ideas to have a farmers market where the farmers can come, sell their products to the constituency and to a wider St. Lucia, so that they can be encouraged to keep planting. That's the second question. I have other ideas I can discuss later. But the first question about why an independent candidate. If you have a conviction to help your people, to represent your people, and being an independent candidate at the moment is the only way you think you can do it, that's what you do. Now, there is a history there with me, but I don't need to go into that right now, because that's almost in the rearview mirror, and I told you we don't do rearview mirrors. The point is, I believe I can serve my constituency in a party, and I think I can serve them outside of a party. So instead of having a party endorsement this time around, I am asking them to look at me and to decide what to do with me. And I am not in cahoots with anybody, so I don't know who else is running. No other independent candidate is talking to me. My decision to get involved was made in 2022.
Okay, we have another call. Thanks for holding. Good morning.
Hello?
Hello, hi, good morning.
Hi, okay. I thought I heard a hello earlier, and I thought you had me on, but I understand I was on hold. I'm just driving. I jumped in my car, and I heard, I'm on Rev-Up. I'm tuned into Rev-Up. And as I turned on the car, I heard a caller ask Mr. St. Rose, what is his symbol? And he said it's the key. And he's an independent candidate, not for Mr. St. Rose?
Yes, I am an independent candidate.
With the key as your symbol?
Yes.
Now, a few weeks earlier, we heard of a new political party coming on board called the St. Lucia National Congress. the SNC, and their political symbol is the key. Are you in any way affiliated with the SNC? And if not, how is it that you as an independent candidate has the symbol as a key and the SNC has the symbol as a key? Isn't that confusing to the electorate?
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much. Thank you.
It might be a little bit confusing to the electorate, but there may be reasons why a new party or another independent candidate may think a key is available to them. If you don't go to the electoral department early enough or on time or whatever, because they are assigning symbols, so you have to get the symbol assigned to you. I will not get into all the reasons why this could be or this could not be, but the electoral department has given me the symbol of a key to represent my candidacy.
So have you heard of this other party?
Yes, I have.
So, and you're not aware that they may have the key as a symbol? And if so, how did that happen, if that be the case?
I heard the announcement on a different outlet, and I have not responded to it. Mr. St. Helen, who is the director, has put out a statement on symbols and what is a sign, what's not a sign. He has a statement on, I think, St. Lucia News Online or one of the other outlets. So I will leave that there for now. But I don't think it's a serious issue, and I don't think it's going to be I don't think it's a problem at all, but I don't think it's going to develop into a serious issue.
Why not? Because you can't have an independent candidate with the symbol, which is the key, and a party which has the key as a symbol.
Yes, that's correct, because you don't have a symbol unless it is assigned to you. Right. Yeah. So
But you know for a fact that the key has been assigned to you.
Yes, I'm aware. Yes, of course. And the electoral department will take care of that, and I think in pretty quick order we are going to get this together. Yeah, because I'm aware of statements that are made. But the electoral department has gotten involved because somebody, I think, raised the issue with the director.
And talking about other independent candidates, you heard the caller, 3 callers before, saying that the number of candidates who will be contesting the elections this time around.
Yes.
I in fact, this morning I heard about a particular person for Castries North as an independent candidate. Are you aware of these aspirants?
I am not aware of Castries North, but I'm aware of other places. And like I said to you, Mr. Paul, I think we should have more persons. Because I think independent candidates, when that is done properly, it brings balance to the body politic. So, for example, as an independent candidate, I'm in the House of Assembly, and I don't have a public made statement on political affiliation relative to parties. Every party, every group inside there will have to be balanced as far as I'm concerned. I'm not towing a line. I'm working with, and we need individuals of consequence who can go in there, work with, support when that's needed and necessary, and then criticize and oppose when it's necessary. And I think the more individuals we have, the more options we give our people, the better off we're going to be.
But what advice do you have for these other aspirants, considering the fact that they seem to be keeping a sort of low profile, albeit maybe just for the constituency?
I am suffering from the low profile of independent candidates before me, because sometimes you don't even know of an independent candidate when you go to vote until they're on the ballot.
Yes, exactly.
Doing what I'm doing here, being in the media, going on the field, getting known, having a plan for a real campaign, going out there and campaigning and talking to the people are the things we have to do to give independent candidates the credibility they need to be accepted in St. Lucia in the future. And I'm hoping that my posture, where I'm not afraid to take questions, I'm not afraid to talk to the media, I'm making the time, I'm devoting time to this because it is that important to me, and I think by extension to St. Lucia.
Okay, we have other calls, but we'll just take one more. Unfortunately, we only have time for one more call.
Okay.
Thanks for holding. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Paul.
Good morning.
To the guests, Mr. Centros.
Good morning, sir.
Mr. Centros, from the very moment we first came on the scene, like everything about you. And it's unfortunate that the political party that was leaning towards did not find favor to have you as a candidate. Now, like you said, you have been saying that you want to serve. So my question to you, wouldn't it have been very appropriate if, okay, let's say you would not accepted as a candidate, and then you would have supported the Mr. Fide? Would you have to be an MP in order to serve in whichever government? For example, you said you have the expertise as a national security, which I think you would have done a good job. So do you have to be an MP, elected MP, to serve in that capacity?
Okay, Colin, do you understand the question?
Yes, I understand the question. Good question. Do I have to be an MP to serve St. Lucia? No, I don't have to be an MP to serve St. Lucia. But I am from Ancillary Canaries, and anybody who's been watching politics in St. Lucia and watching the slow to none development of that constituency will understand that I believe I can help my people. I really do believe I can make a difference in Ancillary Canaries, whether it is through negotiating to bring an industry, to provide employment, to provide work, whether it is to making sure that the young people of Ancillary Canaries are exposed to higher education. Whatever it is, I think I can do. Whether it is the roads, for example, as a simple issue, I believe I can serve. I made a decision. It's a decision I made. I could have come to St. Lucia and asked to be a director of something, but that's not what I did. I made a decision to serve my people. Now, there is a route through the Senate where a political party can bring you in through the Senate and give you a ministry, perhaps make you part of the cabinet. That would be fine, but you are, when you are in the Senate, you are not really representing a constituency, albeit you're representing St. Lucia and you can do good. But the choice that I made is to serve my people. It's almost like I feel an ache, I feel a void. I feel that if I didn't try to help my people, I would go to bed one night and I wouldn't be able to fall asleep. God has given me blessings that I cannot count. And I know what got me to this point. I came from a poor family. I carried bananas on my head. I went to school without shoes and all of that good stuff. And I know some of that or part of that is still existing in my constituency 50 years later. And I want to make a difference. So to the caller's question, I'll be very respectful because it's a good question. It is not the only way I can help, but it is the only way I can serve my people. And that's the decision I made in 2022.
Sorry, but we're going to have to wrap it up.
Yes, sir.
The clock on the wall says it's 9:50. Mr. St. Rose, thank you so much for coming again. And as you just said a while ago about keeping a low profile, you say you plan to do a lot more appearances and so on. We hope that those appearances will include here on Rev-Up St. Lucia.
Most of it, a lot of it. Well, a lot of it will be on Rev-Up St. Lucia.
Thank you very much. So this has been independent candidate for Ancillary Canaries, Elwin St. Rose. I know we had much more to cover, but unfortunately it's already 10 o'clock.
We need more time than this.
Definitely.
And we will make it happen.
We'll have to work on that. Yes. All right, we will. Okay, folks, so this has been What's on My Mind for today. Thanks a lot for listening and thanks for viewing. The program brought to you the compliments of La Place Salazar and Lazarus Funeral Home.
There is only one option when they arrive. Our services will make the dead look alive. With Bouteille and Beaufort accessibility. Remember, we have the only private cemetery. No one can match our prices from coffins to corsage. Personalized service you get when Lazarus takes charge. Quality service, no package to make your wallet bleed. Lazarus is your true friend in your time of need.
It's delicious.
La Place Salazar is the true home of quality meat and deli products, selected and priced to suit every palate and pocket. We sell all cuts of meat, poultry and fish, from tasty lamb necks and succulent pork chops to lean dolphin and juicy top round steaks. Our deli items include turkey, ham, bacon, pork sausages, meat patties, chicken nuggets, deli ham and eggs, so that breakfast or that party is a breeze. And for your added convenience, we sell restaurant essentials and grocery items. So where's your next meal coming from? La Place Salazar, of course. La Place Salazar. Castries, Groselet, Beaufort, and Soufrière.
It's delicious.
Tune in now, don't wait no more. Rev-Up 97.1, feel the beat from shore to shore.